Hey, welcome back, friends. It's Barb Pass going to paint tonight. This is an 8 by 10 Centurion panel. I may have it a little high. I'm sitting down tonight. I looked around on, I don't know if you ever went to the site on Facebook called Reference Free Photos. Very nice. Photographers have put their photos up there and you can use them, which is wonderful. I try to use my own references. I prefer to use my own references, but you just don't, they come up with things that I never get the opportunity to photograph. So I was looking around at photos of doorways on there. Doesn't that sound fun? I'll show you the different ones that I pulled. This is more, I'd say that's 2 windows, but the stone is interesting. So maybe sometime. This I like the light, I like the cat. This is kind of more modern, but I like the color of that door. They're all pretty good, aren't they? It's got milk bottles and they're cute down there. Kind of unusual, got some blocks of color. That one, that might be it. Nope, one more. I think that's it. Yeah, this is the one I chose. Now, we're not looking dead on. We're looking at it at an angle. And, is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. It might be a good thing and make it unusual. What I do like about it is I love this pot of flowers. See the light coming across the door, and I love the arched door. See that light continues on across the siding. So that's what we're going to try to do. So we're going to sketch it on first. I have toned this in a bright acrylic wash. I decided to do it in a warm color because the door is sunlit and I may want to cut back into it in some areas so you can see some of this orange. So I'm not sure. Let me tell you before I get started, if you follow me on Facebook, I did a little video yesterday, I believe. What I'm going to do, I'm going to post a painting on Facebook occasionally. So follow me on there if you don't. Barbara Ball Pask, B-A-L-L. I am going to choose one of my original oil paintings. I'm going to put it on Facebook. I'm going to leave it on, I haven't decided yet, 2 or 3 days. And I'm going to start it at a very low bid. Mostly try to cover materials and shipping. I am overrun with paintings. I need to do something. So we're going to try this. We'll see how it goes over. Give it a little time. I'd love to unload some of these. And then, again, people, because you're here and everybody won't see this, I think I'll give you a sneak preview of the first painting I think I'm going to put up. I've been going through. I have so many. So you'll get to see this if you're here and no one else will. This is the one I'm going to put on first. This is a chicken coop that I painted. See the wonderful chickens and the rooster. That's oil, a lot of nice texture in the tree. It's 8 by 10, which most of these will probably be, which is a standard size to frame on a panel. So you get the first peek at it. So watch for that. It'll probably go up, I'm thinking, who knows? Is weekends better or weekdays better? I'm thinking Monday night. I used to sell on eBay years ago, and it seemed like that weekends were not the best time. All right, let's think about what we're doing here. I'm going to make some marks. Looks like the top of the door hits about there. I don't want to get it any higher than that. There's kind of a corner over here, because this is my painting, and I can make some adjustments if I want. Looks like, surprisingly, the door goes way over to there, and it does run off the bottom. Which, again, this crop is unusual. It's not symmetrical, not looking dead on to it. If you painted it, would you ever choose this perspective? Maybe, maybe not. But again, maybe who's to say, it might make it more interesting. There is a like a porch post here, and a bit of a handrail running off there. Trying to understand what I'm seeing there. There's this short part, then the post kind of looks like it runs across. So I'm seeing really siding all the way to the edge. So we'll sketch it in, take our time. I did a video here recently on TikTok where I kind of gave a tour of my studio, and a gal that I know, an artist friend, said you need to have some kind of studio sale. So I do agree. So we're going to try it, do this for a while, and then I may run a sale on the whole website at some point, maybe. It's actually like a little piece that pops out there a little bit. Could have went out tonight. There was an opening, and I'd buy some LuLaRoe clothes. I don't know if you're familiar with them. And the gal that's in the Cincinnati area was having an opening at her house tonight. You know, it's just rainy, and I didn't want to go out. So just got back last night from Hocking Hills, Ohio. We rented a cabin and spent a couple days over there. And we left on Sunday, and Sunday was beautiful, and Monday and Tuesday we got so lucky with the weather. Come home in the rain yesterday, but we got some gorgeous days. I mean, like 75 degrees. Just unseasonable weather. Wonderful, wonderful. I was on Google Earth today, even looking around at some street scenes and stuff in some towns around here. I watched Marla Baqueta. I'm not sure. She's a pastel artist mostly, but she'll paint live sometimes on Friday. I like all mediums. I like to watch, even if I don't, do pastels. Anyway, she was doing a street scene today, and I get fired up whenever I see somebody doing with, a distant view, the road running down, and street lights, glaring bright lights. So I thought that's kind of cool. So I started out looking at photos like that, and I don't know. This is where I ended up. Doorway. I don't know. Trying to get some of these angles correct. It's kind of the bottom of the window kind of goes up like that. And again, maybe this angled perspective in the end, hopefully, will be interesting, right? I'm going to switch to a brush that's a little bit bigger. Wait just a sec. Let me do one thing with this smaller brush. I want to put in the darks that I see. And I kind of do need this little brush for a few more minutes. The doorknob's on this side and the hinges are on this side. Okay. I have painted doorways before. You may have two, you know, show up in a neighborhood, and some of the old doors are just so interesting. It has a little mail slot too, isn't that cool? The glass is, whoa, that is really dark. I didn't mean to get that so dark. I was going to say the glass is fairly dark. Let me get that angle. And maybe I won't get a bigger brush. Maybe we'll use this one. All these are in light across here. So, you know, we want it to be interesting. All right, this is one of those, you know, where to start. I need to be better about cleaning my brushes out more often. I paint so frequently that I don't thoroughly clean them very often. All right, I think I'm going to put, well, I got a clean brush. I'm going to take a little bit of yellow and white, and I'm going to put in the brightest part of the siding that I see. The light must be hitting it kind of on the corner because this building goes across this way and back in just a little bit. And this area here, no, that might be brighter on the edge, but I don't know that that's a good thing. So when I push on this really hard, it moves. So that's the red. Around the door is kind of turquoisey. So we'll have to decide, you know, how much detail we want. Like always, I want to be painterly. There is kind of a lap siding to this building. I guess it's kind of more shake, so we'll decide. Okay, I'm going to cool this a little bit, but I don't want to get too dark. Still want to stay pretty light. Where it goes around the corner here, it now I want you to feel as though, you know, you're going around the corner, so even though it's catching a lot of light in the photo. And then we got a post here. Looks like kind of a post there. Always like a puzzle, isn't it? Figuring things out here. This up in this area here is fairly light too. I think it's like reflected light. Watched a video today, and the lady was talking about, you know, leaving your brush strokes, that in her opinion it makes it a lot more interesting instead of just smoothing everything out. You know, it's your hand, it you know, it shows that it's a painting, obviously. So her feeling was, you know, leave a lot of that. Don't brush it and brush it and brush it to where, you know, you don't have any brush strokes. I would agree with that. I look at a lot of art like you do if you paint, and that's how I think you figure out how you want to paint and what style you want to paint in. I know for myself I like looser work, so that's my goal, is to be looser. I like looser work. Okay, that area is brighter. Trying to see that path of light kind of bouncing around. I feel good about this. I think in the end, hopefully it will be a interesting painting. Like I said, and maybe, who's to say, maybe the unusual perspective will be more interesting in the end. I mention it over and over, but you know, I paint with a couple groups, and one of them will set up still lifes, and one gal in particular, she'll a lot of times get down like on the end of the setup instead of doing a very traditional still life like I might. She'll be down on the end of it looking back, you know, and sometimes comes up with something a lot more interesting by doing that, I believe. So that's the bottom of the door, and it's running off. It's a little bit darker down here. I don't know what's going on exactly. If you don't tone, you should consider it. I mean, it makes your job easier. It, you know, there's something on this canvas to start, you know. I like it myself. I like seeing it peeking through. Trying to get underneath these hooks here. I may have to touch up when I take that one off. I didn't really get under there. Let's see what all we have going on over here. We got a post. It's the color of the blue. And there's like a handrail. And then there's another post right here. This kind of runs over, and there's another post here. Gets darker here. So it's around this post and then around that. I think we'll do the glass first. I can always come back and do something different if that doesn't work. So let's mix a little cobalt blue and white. You know, we'll have to put the the things on the divisions where, what do you call them, the mullions. So we may have to redo this even, I don't know. Sometimes I think it's more interesting if you paint the negative space last. Like if you do fencing and you come back and paint the spaces between, sometimes that can be more interesting in a painting. So we might do well to come back and hit this again. We shall see. I didn't take my paints when we went away. I mean, we didn't have much time, so I just decided not to this time. I painted over there a few times. It's a little cabin, and I painted the cabin, and I painted stuff inside the cabin. Actually, when we confirmed the booking, I've never met the people, and I sent her a picture of this goes uphill a little bit. I sent her a picture of the cabin from years ago, just to show her that I had painted it. Said it was beautiful. Didn't buy it. Would have been nice, but I didn't expect that. So we'll see if I like that in the end. I don't know. I don't know till I get everything on there. So let's mix up some color for the door, which is a kind of brick red color. Oh, I may need to get some crimson out here. You think you're ready, you know? I apologize, I'm digging for some crimson. And we'll mix up probably 3 different values, which is what I usually like to do. All right, we'll take some crimson, and into part of that I'm going to put some cad red light, because some of this door is warmer and lighter. And you got to be careful when you lighten reds, you know, you end up with pink, which can work, but that's actually not too bad. But you may have to come back, you know, in the end and warm it back up. So into that crimson, I'll put a little ultramarine blue. There aren't many darks at all, just around the trim. Let me grab this little brush for some of these. Yeah, around the trim here, this is real dark. Yeah, there's some light coming across here too. I'm seeing it. I don't think I want to use this little brush for all this. I don't want to get too picky. So let's go a little bigger. Back to our bigger brush. You know, if it isn't a commission, you can kind of use this as your idea and do whatever you want. Change color of the door, or, you know. I'm just going to kind of get it blocked in, and then we'll have to decide what areas need to be a little lighter. And pushing that back, pushing too hard. Yeah, I kind of wanted to do like a cityscape, you know, with some cars and stuff. Be outside soon, and I could use more practice on my cars. I'm still messing with this big brush. I may have to switch off, but that's our flower pot there, that place I'm reserving. Watched Craig Nelson paint today too. I switched back and forth from that Marla Baguetta to Craig. They paint at the same time, so I'm back and forth, Facebook to YouTube, watching them both. he usually, not always, but he was doing a landscape. That angle may be off, maybe more like that. Like I said, we're probably going to come back. I'm not loving the way those windows look, so we're probably going to come back to that. I'm mixing up an orange. I'm going to just try to, that's too dark. I thought it'd mix in with what's under here, but that's good. That's what I want. I'm just going to try to yeah, the light's kind of coming across. Really unusual how I'm seeing in all these different places. And maybe, you know, maybe I don't want to paint exactly what I'm seeing because maybe it would make sense to the viewer. I don't know. I'm not loving the way this blue looks, so we're going to try to kick it back a little and see. So the color around the door in these posts are, it's kind of a turquoisey color. Let's play around and get a couple values in that. Again, it could be whatever color I wanted it to be, you know. Playing around with blue and yellow. Try to get some of that red off my brush. I kind of use the same, well, I get two brushes going here, but I don't jump around too much. Some people are so good about that. They have all these different brushes. I don't myself personally mind if they kind of intermix. little solvent on there. Got some solvent-free liquid on here. I said this area kind of goes out and back in a little bit, so we'll do that. It's really generous of the photographers to not mind you using their images. If you post it, I mean, you want to say whose image it was, but I guess if you were, you might enjoy seeing it if you were a photographer, right? Painted. Seeing how people interpret it. I'm leaving some obvious brush strokes there. So this comes down, and then there's a handrail that runs over that way. We got to explain that a little bit more, that top of that post. And we will. And that is not it. It kind of comes down and there's a base. So the top of it's actually catching more light for some reason. And then it looks like trying to see what I'm seeing here, and I think that's a handrail that goes over, and then there's a like another one here, another post. You know, is that confusing to the viewer? I don't know. It is sure not finished, but that's our mail slot. Yeah, I'm probably not, you know, I'll probably continue to play with this after I go off. I mean, there's a lot I can do. Let's just keep blocking in here. Let's, and also, like I said, I can decide, there's lap siding, do I want that? You know, here on the front, there's kind of a lap siding that kind of, I could explain, do I want that, you know? You know, maybe even like I'm doing it there by just cutting into the paint. We'll have to decide. So let's get some paint here on our plant. Wait a minute, let me come back and do a little more here to this handrail. But, you know, like here in the lightest part, like there's a seam here for the lap siding with a shadow. Would that be interesting? It might be, you know. All right, we're going to make some green, some ultramarine blue. We'll do the darkest part of that basket that I see, an Indian yellow. That's a dark transparent green. We'll put the few darks in there that we see. Just treat it like a puzzle. You know, where do you see those darkest darks? There isn't a lot of foliage. You know, the bright green. But we'll add some Cad Yellow Medium to that and lighten it up. Most of the greens are back in there. And in the end, we might want them brighter than that. Trying to see what kind of plant this is. I guess it doesn't matter. I'm going to take my two reds and I'm going to block this in, and then we'll come back and lighten it up. Maybe with a palette knife would be fun. This is like a hanger coming up here. We'll have to, and a hook. I think we'll go with just, I'm going to take a palette knife and just some Cad Red light, and then we'll probably come back, we'll lighten it yet again. Where we need to. Palette knives are fun. They're especially fun for a textured thing like this. I really, really like them for flowers. All right, now we're going to add some Cad Yellow Medium and pull it more into the orange family. Let's try a little white too. Again, that will pull a kind of pink. We'll see. Now I'm looking for, see, it really cools it off. That's what you run into with the white. Let me put a little bit more Cad Red light in it. It's tricky, you know, you're trying to get it lighter, but you're trying to not cool it off, so it's tricky. The texture helps though, I must say. Now what we could do, which is cooler, but take some crimson and some white. Let's try some of that, which will pull it more pink. Let's see what that does. I mean, it's definitely more fiery red compared to the door, that's for sure. Still doesn't have that intensity that I would like. You can just throw some dots of color off of the basket, you know. Kind of suggesting some greenery. Just having fun. It's pure crimson, just and what kind of flowers are they? No one knows, no one cares. You know, this is one of those paintings I can, again, continue to pull it. I can play with it a long time, and I may, you know, pull in lights where I want them and that kind of thing. You know, pull light across the door and I realize that wouldn't be on there, but I rolled it across there for now. Using the palette knife to suggest the hook. It doesn't really matter what's holding it up. All right, we have paint everywhere. Yeah, I'm not really sure what we got going on with these posts. I guess that would be a way you would come up to the door, right? I'm debating if it, you know, would improve it to suggest the siding. I haven't decided yet. It's got a, which is probably too early for these kind of finishing touches. It's got a doorknob over there. Like I said, there are hinges. Kind of there. Maybe. Yeah, I feel like I'm still going to want, see, I've got this bright light here. Maybe I'm going to want it to come across. You know, I'm going to wipe over that doorknob. I'm not ready for that. Too soon, really. That is really an intense color up there. So I'm going to put a little green in it because, I mean, not that there's anything wrong with saturated colors, but I just feel like it's too much. In the photo, this area where these particular windows are very light. So let's try to lighten them up. They always say it's more about value than color, right? So, because the color is always a guess, so unless you're exactly matching what's there, you know. Been going about an hour. I feel as though I need to introduce probably a lot more darks, perhaps. So. I've heard it said a few times, maybe you have, that a good painting is primarily one value, less of the second, and little touches of a third. Have you heard that? I don't know if I've ever said that to you. And I guess any way that should work. Like if it's primarily a high key light painting, then you would have less of the mid value and touches of dark. Something I've heard a few times. I don't know. We hear a lot of things, don't we? I don't want to pull your eye over there, so I have to look at that and decide. This is very easy to take out if I find I don't think it works, but kind of suggesting some siding. We'll see how I feel about it. I don't know. And it runs obviously up here. Now, probably more that angle. Like I said, I do see it running through my light area here, and then it runs down that way. It may not be there later on, who knows. Anyway, find me on Facebook if you would, and watch. Like I say, probably Monday evening I will list the first painting, and it will be very affordable. We'll see what it goes for, but I just got to do something. I mean, you know, it's hard to just keep producing art when you're not selling enough to keep, well, I wouldn't have to paint as much as I do, I guess. You know, if you do a couple a year, but I can't. I paint a lot. I love it. So, all right, we got everything blocked in. I'm going to continue to look at it and make adjustments. I don't know how those posts feel over there. They are there. There's too much paint on there. I was trying to hit a few of these so they would stand out. We'll come back and take some of that off. In my photo reference, they're catching light, and in this area above here is catching light. And I want them to show up because that makes the door interesting. So. You know, and this is a thing, it needs to be, the edge needs to be square, I believe, so we might even have to take a T-square to it, just to check angles. I'm going to kind of wipe out those hinges because I think they make things look out of whack. So, I always carry a T-square, useful all the time, especially when you plein air paint. So this goes up, this goes down, and this would continue on across, and these probably would angle up a bit, I guess. I just did this without really looking. So. Just kind of wipe them out. All right, let me get you out in front of it so you can see it. And I've been sitting here with my face in it most of the time, so I got to get away from it too. It's different, you know, looking at it at an angle versus dead on. It's not what you usually expect. I was hoping, you know, that might make it more interesting. This is my light area, so I feel like this needs to be darker too, so that pops. So I have to think about it. I may want more of a suggestional light coming across it. All right, hope you enjoyed watching. The struggle never ends. It's always real, especially with architecture. You know, with a landscape and a tree, it can be, who knows, right or wrong, who knows in most cases, but with stuff like this, it has to be right. So again, I may throw a T-square on the 2 to make sure these angles here need to be straight. All right, thanks again. Like and subscribe if you haven't, and we'll do it again before too long. All right, thank you so much. Good night.